Hey everybody, welcome back to the IHC Craft Room. Today is live number 5 in the Sweetheart Season series, and we're going to be dot painting on this beautiful heart-shaped piece of wood. And later this week on Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to use whatever we make tonight as the focal point of a beautiful Valentine's Day inspired wreath. So tune in for that. I'm really excited about it. So let's get started. I decided that I want to stain this one as opposed to painting a chalk paint background or something like that. And I really wanted it to be like a medium colored stain. I almost always end up using walnut, which I love. It's really dark and impactful, but I decided to try something more medium, and I'm really excited about it. So I'm going to put a piece of parchment paper down so I don't damage my tabletop here. Okay, and I'm gonna grab a couple of things and we're gonna stain this guy. So I always use a old t-shirt, a foam brush, and something to pry this open with, and I'm gonna need a pair of gloves because I do not want any of this on my hands. All right. Now, if you don't want to stain your wood piece, you don't have to. You don't have to do anything to it if you don't want to. Although I would recommend, if you're going to paint directly onto the wood without painting it in any way, that you still seal it with a varnish, which we will do after we stain it. But since we're talking about this, this is the varnish that I use. It's my go-to. It doesn't mean it's the only varnish out there. So feel free to use something different. But Liquitex matte varnish is what I use 99% of the time. Okay, so this stain is called Flagstone. They made it the smallest possible font just to make my life hard. I don't want to damage those scissors, so let me use a crappier pair of scissors. This is brand new, so it's full to the tippy top. So I got to be careful. Okay, beautiful. Always stir your stain. Always, always, always. Because it definitely separates when it's sitting in the can. Actually, this isn't that bad because I used it recently. But, okay. Anytime I stir something that is craft related, I'm always scraping the bottom and scraping the sides whenever possible. Although I can't really scrape the sides of this because it gives me shivers down my spine in a really bad way. Like nails on a chalkboard? No, thank you. I can't do it. So I got close to the walls, but that's it. Okay, so I'm going to start by just dipping a tiny bit. I don't need to pick it up. You could totally do the edges, which I normally do. You could do both sides of this as well, if you prefer. I'm only going to stain one side for the time being. And then we can decide either if I want to use this for something else or no, I can't actually. I'm going to attach it to a wreath. So I'm just not going to paint the back, basically, is what I'm saying. You won't even see it. I'm going to end up attaching pipe cleaners to it so that I can secure it to the wreath. So you're not going to see the back of this at all. What a pretty stain, huh? I love it. And my husband pointed out to me that it is identical pretty much, or at least close enough for you to hesitate, to my actual tabletop here, which is going to be a problem because there's not going to be contrast, but I will just keep a piece of parchment paper underneath it, I think, and that will solve the problem, most likely. But what a surprise, because I didn't know what color this was. I basically was like, I went on the website. I went on the Home Depot website and I looked at the different colors and I'm like, this is the one. And that's it. I didn't test it. I just brought it home and it's a beauty. I really like this. It's a really pretty color. Okay. I feel like I got a good layer. And the edges as well. Okay. I'm actually not going to need this. So I'm going to, oh my gosh, I'm going to close it because I'm a complete spaz. And I'm really, really good at knocking things over and causing a disaster. So we're going to try to avoid that from happening over here. Okay, so I'm going to use an old t-shirt to wipe this stain off, that excess that we don't need. Why I'm using a t-shirt is because I have tried this with paper towel and it leaves behind a lot of fluffs and squiggles and things that give me rage and raise my blood pressure. So I learned that this t-shirt trick works like gangbusters. So highly recommend. Okay, so that's beautiful. I love it. I'm very pleased with the coverage and the color. So this needs to dry for, I would let it dry at least 24 hours. And then I put 1, possibly 2 thin coats of this matte varnish. Okay, so that's what I highly recommend. Now, for the purposes of this live, I already have one of these ready to go. So I'm going to swap these out. And you see, it's almost identical to my desk, to my tabletop. So I am going to put something underneath it, but instead of parchment paper, I'm going to put a couple of paper towels maybe, so it won't move around as much on me. Let's see. That'll do. That way or this way? This way's better. All right, beautiful. Okay, so for tonight's project, I decided that I wanted to, oh, I don't need gloves. Get off my hands. They're going to annoy the heck out of me. I decided that I want to do like a mandala style of heart, but that's pretty much the only thing I've decided. Over here on my left, I have a bunch of different rhinestones and hearts and some white hearts too. And this big, massive, these ones, I've had these for a while. I'm not sure. We'll see. I have a bunch. Now, I'm definitely going to bling this out a little bit, but it's not going to be the be all and end all of what we're doing today. So first we need to decide what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. Mostly I decide as I go. The first step is going to be, though, trying to figure out where the center is. Now, just so you know, if you're new here, welcome. And secondly, I don't really care if things aren't perfect. I enjoy the oddities of hand crafting things. So if something comes out a little bit crooked and it's not quite to snuff, oh well, I'm over it already. So I'm going to say this is probably the center because I just lined it up with the hole that we hung on. So let's see. I'm going to mark here. And we're going to check it out. Yeah, that looks like the middle to me. I think that went very well. Where's my ruler? Yeah, buddy. Not bad. I'm happy with that. Okay, so I'm going to lay this down and I'm going to actually use my chalk pencil to draw some grids around here. It'll give you a good, well, see, it's not actually in the middle because this, well, maybe. It doesn't really matter. I just finished telling you I don't really care. But I do kind of want to be, there's that hole, and then here's the tip of this. Okay, so I actually think that was off. I'm going to say this is the center. Okay, so I'm just going to draw these lines in real quick like. This is a chalk pencil that I'm using. I recommend that at all times, if possible, to use a chalk pencil. It's much easier to get rid of your lines when you're done. It's also one of the other reasons why varnish is your friend. By sealing the base coat, when you need to erase these lines, it's going to be a lot less dramatic than it would be if you didn't varnish it. Oh, I knew that was going to happen. Problem is you can't really get a really sharp edge to a chalk pencil. because it breaks apart. See, it's already going to break. Let's see. All right. I want to actually see if you can see these. Yeah, not bad. Could be a little more. Oh, dude. This is why I got to leave it chunky. I got to see if I can find... You know how they have mechanical pencils? Why don't they have mechanical chalk pencils? Or do they? And I just don't know about it. Well, if you happen to know and you're here, please let me know in the chat. But I'm going to actually look that up because that would be fantastical right now. Now, if you don't have a stencil like this, don't stress yourself out. You can use a ruler to draw across and then do like a starburst. You can totally do that. That's what I used to do before I had a stencil like this. If you don't want to draw lines, don't. There are plenty of projects that I do where I don't draw lines at all. And sometimes they come out beautiful and symmetrical regardless. And other times they're wonky AF. And I really don't care because I still think they're pretty. Plus I had fun doing it. So it's always a win in my book, regardless. Whether it came out perfect or it didn't. And 99% of the, okay, maybe not 99% of the time, but like a good portion of the time, nobody else notices the mistakes than you. So, you know, take it easy. Okay, let's see. This one did not come out good. That's better. They are very helpful though. Like if you do have the opportunity to put some guidelines on and you have the patience, because if I'm being honest, the reason why I generally don't use guidelines is because I find this really tedious. And trust me, most people find dot painting tedious, but I don't. I enjoy dot painting. But this part, the prep part, yeah, I could do without. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Now I'm going to be off. I think I might have got back onto it. Okay. Yeah, so I find this part annoying, but I also feel like it's, if you have the patience to do it and you have the opportunity, do it. It is useful to have guidelines when you're doing, especially when you're working on a mandala. It's super useful. It also helps you visualize the pattern in your head a little bit better. That's not bad. Can you see that? I feel like this one is a little light and I'll regret it. So let's, okay. I'm really holding on to this heart and it's making my arm hurt. Why can't they just make them fatter? It's not like they're that close to each other. Can't you just make it a fatter line? It would be so much easier to fill this in. Okay. I actually bought some colored chalk pencils not long ago because when I have a white background, I obviously can't use a white chalk pencil. And I've used a regular lead pencil many times before, but I find them really frustrating because you really gotta scrub them, like, to get that off. You can get it off eventually, but you got to put some elbow grease into it. It's like a lot of effort and it's frustrating. So whenever possible, if you can use a chalk pencil, I highly recommend it. And then to take this off, you could use a damp Q-tip. I've seen some dot paint artists who use a baby wipe. That always makes me paranoid because I'm scared it's going to strip my paint. And that would really upset me. But it is something you could try if you choose. I actually always use a pencil eraser to erase my chalk pencil lines. I feel like it comes off much, much better. It's easy to do, and it doesn't usually strip my paint. I've never had it strip my paint that I can think of, unless I've been impatient and I've gone to erase my guidelines before the paint was really, really dry. So when you're dot painting, really small dots, they dry really fast. So anything that's like a micro dot, that's going to dry in no time. But the bigger dots, which are going to be, we're going to be leaning into bigger dots tonight because we're going to be covering a lot of real estate. And since I don't want to be doing this project for 4 hours, I'd like to get it done within a couple of hours if possible. We're going to use bigger dots to cover more of the heart than we would with small dots, because small dots would take a lot longer. But because of that, it's going to take a lot of patience in terms of waiting for the dots to dry. And I may not be able to do top dots at all, or just not today. I might come back and do top dots another day. And maybe I don't know that I would go live over it, but I might record it and release it on my channel as a continuation of this, but we'll see. You don't always have to do top dots. I like doing top dots. I feel like it gives your projects more dimension, but you really got to let your dots dry before you top dot them. And if you don't know what a top dot is, it's exactly what it sounds like. You place a dot, you let it dry. And then later you come back and you place a dot on top of it, usually a smaller dot, and it looks really nice. But I highly recommend that you let your bottom dot dry really, really well before top dotting. This pencil is trying to give up the ghost, and I just want to squeak out this last line. All right, I think we did it. Let's see. Yeah, that doesn't seem like it's centered really, does it? Let me see. Because there's this point. This is what I mean by I care, but I don't care. You know what I mean? I'm going to draw one line down the center. Okay, that's good. So it's actually not off at all. It's just like an optic illusion. All right, I'm good with this. I'm going to get started. The first thing I want to decide is if I want to make this one of these massive rhinestones, the center dot. Because as soon as I stumbled across these in my rhinestone stash, I was like, oh, I believe you were made for this project. Do we like the heart in the middle? Let's not forget this is a Valentine's Day project. So I think I might do it. Yeah, this is weird, right? So it's not really centered because this, I guess this would be the center. Which is kind of low, right? But I don't mind it. I think it's good. Okay, I'm actually going to glue that down right now. Do I want to do that? Because then it's going to be a pain to try to erase those lines after. I don't care. I'm up for it. I think it's better to have it glued down so that I don't have any trouble with the rest. So I'm going to be using super glue. There is no sticker on the back of this, which is kind of surprising. Most of the rhinestone stickers are stickers, which is highly annoying, just to be clear. Okay, so an easy rule, because I make this mistake all the time, is don't put the glue on the back. Put the glue where you want the stone to go. I know, it sounds like a stupid, like, duh, but you'd be surprised how many times I have not done that. And it's no bueno, mi amigos. Okay, so I'm going to put a dot right here. Just a tiny dot. It doesn't need much. This isn't going to go anywhere. You don't need to use super glue. You could use hot glue if you wanted to. But remember, if you are using super glue like me, you don't have a lot of time to muck around. It is going to adhere very quickly. So make sure you're happy. I'm happy with that. It's seriously going to dry in 2 seconds. Okay, so tonight, the colors I've decided to use are black, white, and Christmas red. That's what we're going to be doing tonight. And again, for those of you just joining, welcome. And I'm going to be using this beautiful heart shape mandala that we're going to make tonight as the center point and focal point of a wreath on Thursday night. So please feel free to join me. Okay, that's pretty much close to being, okay, beautiful. So I think I want to start with a circle of black. And tonight I'm going to be using my dotting tools, mostly my stylus set, but also remember I told you I want to be doing some bigger dots tonight. So I'm also going to be using this rod set that I got from the Happy Dotting Company. You can pick them up on Amazon. I can't remember how much these are. These are a little bit more expensive, but these stylus tools, I'm pretty sure you can get a good set for like $10. They're not super expensive, but if you're not sure if you want to keep dot painting, don't worry. You can use things from around the house. Things like this shish kebab skewer, the top of a paintbrush, either side of this actually. Did I just break that? Why do I feel like there was it doesn't matter. Toothpicks. Toothpicks are another great option. Q-tips. You can take, where are my Q-tips, by the way? I need some for this project. I always need Q-tips nearby. Oh my, look at that. I only have one left. That's sad. Anyway, you can use a bunch of things from around your home. You could even use the top of a pencil, the eraser of your pencil. They make beautiful dots, a highlighter. I've used the edge of a glue stick. I've used dowels. So look around your home. I'm sure you'll be able to find some awesome stuff that will make beautiful dots for you. But if you're interested in dot painting, the tools aren't that expensive and you really use very little paint as well. So, okay, before we get started, I am going to grab some Q-tips. They're right beside me, just a couple feet away. Because trust me when I tell you, I make these mistakes all the time, and Q-tips are my besties. So I don't feel comfortable even starting without Q-tips being handy. Okay, beautiful. We're ready to begin. Let's get the party started. Okay, so I'm going to start with my biggest stylus, which is the 3mm rod here. And I think I'm going to do a dot on every line. And then I'm going to decide if we're going to go in between or not. We'll see. I don't have a plan here tonight. We're just going to do whatever we want to do. Now, I am going to recommend something, though. Anytime you start something, your first dot might not be your best dot. You might not love the size of it. You might want to make your next few dots a little bit plumper, maybe a little smaller. So I highly suggest that you don't start in a super obvious place. That's why I started here instead of here, because your eye will be drawn there, but it won't necessarily be drawn here. So it's actually saved some of my patterns more than a few. So if you're new to dot painting, I'm going to show you the basics of what you need to do to get a nice design that's beginner friendly. The first thing you need to know is that you will not dot at this speed. I'm dotting at a very quick pace. If you're a beginner, you should be taking a deep breath between practically every single dot. Take your time. Get used to the feeling of filling your dotting tool with paint, seeing how much you can get onto it. What does it feel like for the paint to touch the canvas that you're working on? Does it grab the paint from you? Do you have to push the paint on? Are you tapping the paint? These are the things you want to practice when you're starting dot painting. Just get the feel of the land. You know what I mean? Nothing needs to be perfect. At the end of this, no matter how big, small, wonky, or beautiful your dots are, I promise you that we will have a very gorgeous piece that we made with our two little hands. Okay. What do we want to do now? What do you think? Do we want to do a dot in between? Do we want to, you know what I think I want to do? I think I want to dot down each of these. Yeah, I like that idea. Okay, so let me do that. I'm just going to clean off my dotting tool. I always have a damp cloth right beside me when I'm dot painting. I highly recommend you do the same. It's a great way to keep everything under control. Now, I feel like I need some more paint in my palette. The more paint you have, the easier it is to fill your dotting tool with paint, obviously. You're going to notice that I'm constantly looking at my hands, and that's because I don't want to accidentally have paint on my hands and then transfer it to my project. Okay, so we were using the 3mm for that, and I want to walk the dots down into like a tapered line on each of these lines. So I'm going to start with my 2mm dotting tool, and I'm going to fill it with paint, and then I am going to walk down and not refill my dotting tool again. Okay, I'm actually going to start over here. Okay. Now, I do have guidelines, which I'm sure you can see, but that doesn't mean I'm going to be straight. Just because they're there doesn't mean I'm going to do a good job with them. Just to be clear. I need to stop laughing so much because it's going to... Oh, I totally just touched the jewel with that. See why I need a Q-tips? The jewel's actually quite large. So it was hard to see that I was that close. So I'm actually going to dot this way so I can see better. Now keep in mind, if I was too close to my dot right now, I wouldn't be cleaning this off. I'd leave it. I'd leave it and come back and clean it off later when everything else is dry. It's not a big deal. Not everything has to happen in the moment. Okay. I'm going to have to come back with a smaller dot for there. You know what? Let me grab my tiny dot. This is going to be too small now. Oh, that worked out beautifully. Which is surprising because my hand started to shake right at the worst moment. Okay, so what I'm doing now is called walking the dots, which means I'm only putting paint on my dotting tool once. And then I'm dotting into a gradual smaller dot, smaller dot, smaller dot. That just happens naturally because the paint, you know, depletes. That looks cool. I like it. So when you're new at dot painting, I highly recommend you do projects like this where you're practicing a number of different skills in one project. So we're going to do things like walking the dots. We're going to be doing things like probably we'll do some swooshes. I like swooshes. I haven't done them in a while. And I like to keep practice of things like that as well. So this would be a good opportunity for that. Just getting the feel of paint on surface is also super important. Uh-oh. I hope those two dots don't turn into a blob dot. I was a little close there. We'll see. This paint isn't super runny, so we might be okay. But if it turns into a blob dot, I'll decide what to do. Sometimes I leave them, but that's in a really visible spot, and I can already see they're starting to merge a tiny bit. We'll see. All right. What do we want to do next? Wait. What should we do next? Okay, so let's remember the colors we're using today. We're going to be doing black, white, and red. And because I'm using this in a wreath, I'd like for red to dominate, but I feel like a lot of my red, I want to use some jewels for that. I don't think I want to use different colored jewels. So I need to decide if I want to put some jewels somewhere in here, or do I want to start with a swipe? I think I'm going to do a swipe. What color do I want it to be? White? I could do a swipe starting here, swiping down. We'll leave the gap in between. And then what am I going to do in between the gap? I don't know. We'll see. And then maybe we can put like a red jewel over top of the white swipes. Okay, we'll see. Let's start with that plan. So I'm going to do a white swipe. If you don't know what a swipe is, worry not. I shall show you. I will show you all of these things. You will love them. They're beautiful. All right, here we go. We're going to do, this is already a 3 dot, a 3 millimeter. So I definitely need to increase the size of that because I want the next row to be bigger. Should I do a 5? That's what a 5 looks like. I'm thinking of 5. Okay, so again, I'm not going to start in a really visible place in case my first few are wonky. So I'm going to start on the side. And we're going to be using a couple of different tools to do a swipe. So the first thing is I need to put a big white dot right there with like a nice plump dot full of paint. And then I'm going to take one of my stylus tools and I'm going to drag that down to a tapered end. That's a swipe. So I'm going to be using 2 different, maybe even 3, we'll see. So we're going to start with the 5.0. Oh, hello, Anna. And hi, Tony. Welcome. Yes, we're going to be using lots of bling tonight. Don't you worry, Anna. It is bling time. Okay, so we're going to go 2 rows up right here. And that's not big enough of a dot. It doesn't need to be wider. I needed there to be more paint within it so that I have the paint to drop. And that's why I keep putting a little bit more on top. So let's put this aside. I'm going to take my 1 millimeter, which is the skinniest one I have, except for this teeny tiny one, the 0.8, but I don't want to go that far. I'm going to put a tiny bit of paint on the tip of my dotting tool so it's not dry. And I'm going to start right at the center and I'm going to drag it down this line. Okay, that's as far as I want it to go. Now I'm going to come back and pull some more so that I can make it more of an even. Just like that. Not bad. I'm happy with that. Okay, beautiful. Now I can see that I have some bubbles in my white paint. So I am going to take a something to stab them with. Now, if you don't have a sharp tool like this, not to worry. You can use a toothpick. They will work just as well. Okay, beautiful. Let's do the next one. This white's a little bit watery for my taste, so it's going to make it a bit of a struggle to get a plump dot without doing it more than once. But that's okay. That's good. I think that might be enough. I see a new bubble. I feel like this white paint's going to irk me. I don't need bubbles right now. So you got to be careful when you're dragging it down, because if you want a tapered end, which I do, and by tapered, I mean it gets skinnier at the bottom. I just warped my dot. You need to make sure that you don't drag too much paint down, because the more paint you drag down, the thicker the bottom's going to be. This is why I keep stopping a little bit higher, because I don't want the bottom to be thick. I want the bottom to be skinny. Okay, good. Beautiful. Pretty soon we'll get into a vibe, like we'll get into a system, and this will go faster. But let's be realistic. If you want it fast, dot painting is not the place you need to be. It's not to say that we're not going to get something done pretty quickly, but if you want quick results, I don't think dot painting is the way to start. Okay, I'm going to pull it down now. Hardest part for me is to stay straight. I'm very crooked-handed. I want to go wonky all the time. See, this could use a little. That's good. Beautiful. Much better. Okay. What do you guys think? I like the contrast. Then we got to start thinking about what we're going to do to fill the gaps in between. But we've got plenty of time for that. I'm sorry, I got to be careful not to talk too much when I'm doing this, because it shakes my hand. And my hand shakes already as it is. I feel like this could be a little bit skinnier at the bottom, but I'm nervous about trying to thin it out. So I'm going to use my really, really skinny dot tool, the one that I was to stab with. Beautiful. We'll stop there. Do I need to pop anybody? No? Okay. When I first started dot painting, I was really, really intimidated by making my own patterns. And for a while, I bought patterns. So if you're feeling intimidated and you don't want to try to freehand, that's totally fine. Check out Etsy. There are some really great dot painting artists that write out their patterns and they tell you the actual tool you should use that you can buy so you know what size you need. It's super helpful, especially when I was super insecure about it when I first started dot painting because I'm not a good drawer. I can't freehand draw at all. So I was convinced that I couldn't do anything creative because of that. And then dot painting happened to me. And it literally changed my life. Not because it became a career, but because it became something that I truly love doing. It's a great creative outlet. You can make a bazillion things with very little money. It's super cost effective. This heart shape I got from Dollar Tree for $1.75. And these jewels, like at most, this is going to cost $5 to make, like at most. And only because I want to bling it up, because if I didn't and you were just using paint, it wouldn't even be that much. And it really helped me to find that creative passion in myself and also to just help my stress levels and my anxiety and all of the things I was suffering at a really, really bad job that I was at many moons ago. Not my current job. I love my current job, but my previous jobs were, let's not talk about it. But that's actually what led me to find something like this. And I've truly, deeply loved it. Madly. If you get that reference, you're just as old as I am. All right. I just realized that this is a little bit off center, and that means now these aren't going to meet. That's unfortunate. So this is a good example of something that you may notice, but somebody may not. So it's not quite at the center on that black dot as it should be. Oh, well. Once this is done, I would love to know if you can see it afterwards. If you can, let me know in the comments. But you have to wait till the end when the whole pattern is done. And then you can tell me if you can remember where it was and if it's noticeable to you that they're not in perfect alignment. And I'll bet you probably not. Okay, now what we're doing here is what I call a swipe. However, there are some uber talented dot painters out there who use a paintbrush and they call it a swoosh. And they use these really long, skinny paintbrushes. I don't know if I have one kind of like this. These really, really long, bristled not toothbrushes, paintbrushes to draw and it's, oh my God, so beautiful. And they're so good at it. And I have never mastered it. I've never actually tried, if I'm being honest. But it is one of those things you have to practice. You have to practice it. And I just don't have time, quite frankly. I have too many other things to do right now to learn how to do a swoosh with a paintbrush. But if that's your thing, I'm impressed. Because I can't do that. Not nicely, at least. They'd be pretty wonky. But, practice, man. That is really the true number one thing when it comes to dot painting. You can buy dotting tools, you can buy patterns, you can watch a million tutorials. But if you don't try and you don't practice, you will never get better. You just won't. And it's so easy to practice because you can just make such pretty things. And I highly recommend that you do make things. Don't just practice on a piece of paper. I mean, you could if that's your cup of tea. There's lots of people who like using practice sheets. I'm not one of them. I find that so boring. I would never do it. I would rather make something and have it come out ugly and stupid. But then I have something. And on top of it, it's fun to look back on projects that I made when I was less experienced and see how far I've come. It feels good, you know? Particularly since I've learned to do all these things as a full-blown adult, which is something you don't necessarily do a lot of, is trying out a lot of new creative endeavors. So if you're hesitating and you're not sure if you want to try, let this be your moment of encouragement to pick up a toothpick or a pen and some paint and start creating stuff. This one's not straight either. Bibbidi bop, who cares? Not me. I really have to shut my yap when I'm doing that, or it's going to end bad. This is a little wonky at the bottom here. Let's see if I can fix it. Bueno. Ooh, that looks so cool. This is going to look great. That was a very good idea. You're going to keep seeing me continue to add more paint on top. Especially things like this, you need a lot of paint in your palette. In fact, if you know you're going to be doing a project that you're going to be using really big dots, a bigger palette than this would be even better. And I don't mean like more options on the palette, but actually larger cavities would be better. And I have some, I just didn't think to grab one. So you don't have to keep refilling every 5 minutes. Shut your trap, Mary. That's a little bit of a squiggle over there. We got to fix that. Okay. There we go. I managed to fix that. A little bit of patience. Beautiful. Okay, we are about to approach the danger zone, meaning I'm about to get to the point where my hand naturally rests is going to be wet paint. So I need to be very aware of where I position my hand from this point on. See? I'm saying that out loud for my own benefit so that I keep my attention on it. Because I have done that before. Rested my hand on wet dots and cursed myself so badly. I was so upset. Okay. Trying to decide what I want to do in between. I feel like I want to, I don't know. I'm going to think about it. I'm still mulling it over. Because we could do opposite, meaning a thick dot in the center and then bring it out and then do a swipe from the bottom out. We could do that to do the reverse of everything. I don't know that I have the patience to do another round of swipes, if I'm being honest. I think once I'm done this one, I'm going to stop for a while because they're fine. It's fun, but it's really, I hate that I have to keep talking, that I can't keep talking. That I have to shut up all the time. I'm scared I'm going to shake my hand and be unsteady, you know? All right, here we go. Oh, that turned out beautiful. Okay, I need to make this a little thicker down here because it tapered off too much. See, I'm grabbing paint from the plumpest part and dragging it down. Okay, that's good. Stop messing around with it. You're going to end up making it bad. I see a couple of bubbles. Where's my popper? I most definitely say this in every single dot painting tutorial, and I will say it in every single dot painting tutorial until I die. Always pop your dots. Always. If there are bubbles in your dots, pop them. Don't leave the bubble. Don't think it's not a big deal. It's a big deal. It's a very big deal because if you leave your bubbles and you don't pop them, they will most definitely pop on their own. And probably when the rest of the paint around it has started to dry, which means you'll see a popped bubble in your dot forever. Forever. So if you don't want that, get you a toothpick or a popping tool like I have and pop them. Okay. I felt like I was fighting for paint. That's why I put a little bit on my dotting tool. I need you to be a little less skinny at the bottom. There. No, you need the same. This one's getting away from me. So you know what that means? You need to stop. Just stop. I can't stop. I don't like that. I need to fix it. It's going to bother me. What can I use to fix it? Let's use the really skinny tool. That's much better. Such a small thing, but it really bothered me. This is a good example of what I meant about sometimes I care and sometimes I don't. It's totally up to you. There's going to be some things that irk you and you're going to need to fix them. Fix them. There's going to be other things that you don't care about. Leave them. Who cares? In the end, it's still going to be beautiful. You watch it. You mark my words. Okay, my hand is right near over here. These swipes, which are starting to dry, but you may recall earlier I said, always be careful when you're using big dots like these. They'll trick you. They'll make you think that they're dry and they're not dry. So never assume that it's dry unless you dotted it yesterday. Then you can assume it's dry. I don't need this one. I want this one. Again, I'm using my 1 millimeter tool for this just because I feel like it gives me a good taper without being too skinny. Okay. Beautiful. Good. There we go. All right, we only got 2 left. Woo woo. I'm slowly pushing this out of the shot. You don't realize how you hold things until you're looking at a screen. And then you're like, oh man, I'm crooked. My apologies, but I have to be more concerned about where I place my hand versus where it is on the screen. Because like I said, I want this to be pretty, okay? All right. My finger's in it. See? Mary! Oh, jeez. Lucky for me, I didn't move, so you can't actually see the damage that I did. I was so focused on making this. I even had a whole conversation with myself, Mary. It's fine. Everything's fine. Don't worry about it. Okay, that looks great. I was worried about that one because it's like right in the center, so I don't want to run the risk that, you know, it's going to be the wonky one out of all of them. It would figure. For some reason, my playlist just stopped playing, and I'm not pleased. Oh well. I guess it will be silent dot painting for Mary for the remainder of this. I have a headphone in my ear, and I listen to something very, very, very slowly and quietly in my ear. Because unfortunately, I can't play music when I'm dot painting on YouTube because I don't want to get sued. So, all right, a little more. All right, thank you for your assistance. We're not going to need you for a bit. Last swipe. Let's make it a good one. It's kind of like a jinx when you say stuff like that, you know? But it's fine. We'll fix it. Beautiful. There. Woo! What do you think? Oh my gosh, I think that looks so great. I'm really pleased with that. I think it's really pretty. Okay, let's talk about what we're going to do next. Are we going to put a jewel at the top of each of these? I think I like that idea. Okay, what jewel are we going to put? We can put a tiny heart. I have tiny red hearts. Actually, I have even more of those if I don't have enough because I'd have to count. 2, 4, 6. Oh, I need way more than 6. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Wow, I need a lot. Okay, I have these. So I have plenty. So we can use these little guys. Or what else do I have? I don't have like small round ones. I have these big red ones, these big round ones. Oh, let me see. What do I think of this? Do we like that? Or Do we do like, how many of these do I have? I only have 8 of those. How many did I say? I need 16. So no, I can't do that size. Okay, so option 1 is the big red. You know, I could do one circle and 1 heart. That's also an option. Okay, then there's these little red hearts. They're very teeny tiny. I have to be careful because all of this paint is wet and it's easy to lose control of these things. What do you think? Do we want the big round or the little heart? Because they're both cute for different. The thing is, okay, wait, let's think about this. If I were to do these big red ones, do I have enough room? Yeah, I do. Okay, that's good. Let's see if we did a big round red one and then a heart. Where is the opening of this? Why did they make this complicated? Oh, they put it on the front instead of the back. Oh, good. All right, let's see if we were to do 1 circle, 1 heart. I don't like that. Anna says, yeah, big red round. Okay, Anna, you win. We're going to do the big red round. Now let's get this off without causing a disaster. I'm going to put you aside. Honestly, if I had 16 of those hearts, I would have used them. What if we did a little heart in between? No, you know what? I'm going to use these little hearts further out, I think, because I think they're cute. All right, so what we're going to do then is the big red hearts, because I've got plenty of those. We got plenty. I'm making a mess over here. Okay, I'm going to use my Gorilla Glue again. Again, you don't need to do that if you don't want to. You could stick it just as a sticker, but these all have stickers on the back and they're not, I mean, they're a little sticky, but not enough for me to trust them. So again, always put your glue where you want your jewel to go. Don't put the glue on the back of your jewel, because if you drop it, which I do all the time, then you're going to drop it in the wrong spot for sure. Guaranteed. Okay. So we're going to go, I'm going to put it right here. Just a tiny drop. It doesn't need to be a lot. I don't want it to touch it, but I want it to be close. That's good. Now let's see if they're too big beside each other. What do you think? Does that look good? Actually, I think that looks great. I'm going to go with that. Good call, Anna. Let's put this aside. Thank you for the suggestion. Let's see. Watch your pinky, Mary. I almost stuck it in a swipe. Okay, so this is Gorilla Crazy Glue. It only gives you a few like minor seconds to move things around. So once you've put it down, don't walk away and pour yourself a coffee because it's going to stay where you put it. You need to be very aware. The clock is ticking. Good. I don't think I've ever, I mean, I've put jewels in a lot of my projects, but I don't think I've ever done something like this kind of style. I like it. Don't be stuck to my finger. I can't have that. Ooh, that almost ended bad. Good. Let's get a couple more of these over here. I almost can't even see it. I hope I put it. Oh, be careful. That's good. You know, I'm just thinking it's going to be a nightmare trying to erase these chalk lines because they're so tucked under everything. That's okay. If I can't use an eraser like I normally do, I'll probably just use a Q-tip. A damp Q-tip will do very well. All right. Oh. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's Murphy's Law that it's the ones that are the most visible. The one right on the bottom was the one that was going to screw up. I got you, though. Ma! I thought you could get one over on me, but no. Now you have been gorillaed. Okay. Why is like my glue not coming out? This is not an old container of glue. It's fairly new, actually. Oop. I could tell that one wasn't going to fall right. Look at that. It won't move. Ah, I got it to move. Beautiful. Wow, that was lucky because I didn't think that. I thought that was stuck. Because my fear isn't so much about it being stuck. My fear is that it's going to be stuck. I'm going to shove it and then I'm going to end up smashing into something, which is very common. That's why I'm being so cautious about trying to wiggle them because it's happened to me before that I put a little too much elbow grease behind readjusting the jewel and I end up destroying something. Oh, that was great. That's good. This one looks a little chipped. Sorry, friend. No chips allowed. You think I would be getting better at this by now? That I'd be in more of a groove? But I'm not. It's just as awkward every single time. Wow, that is stunning. I just looked up and I saw it on the screen and wow, doesn't that look pretty? Yippee! See, I love making pretty things. It's a good way to spend a Tuesday night, right? I think so. It's cold and windy and rainy outside here in Ontario, in my neck of the woods. Oh, no, come back. You've gone too far. Can I get you back? I'm scared. I'm scared. You know what? I'm going to leave you. It had already dried. I wanted to scooch it a little bit. I'm scared. Actually, that's working. Okay, that's good. Wow, that worked. Yippee. All right, let's see. How many more do we need? Tappity tap tap. Something else that really drew me to dot painting is the satisfaction of completing a pattern. Now, as we're coming up on the end of these jewels, it's very satisfying. You're just not going to move, huh? All right. Particularly in a world where there's not really tidy endings to things anymore. There's a lot hanging in the wind and out of our control. And, you know, this is something that you can start and finish all by yourself. And it's beautiful. And it's satisfying. All right. That's great. Oh, this is interesting. I was really hoping this would work out because I want to cover that hole because I'm not hanging this. Again, this is going to be part of a wreath that I'm making on Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So please join me if you want to see how that turns out. But I don't need this hole here. And I was really hoping to cover it, but I didn't really plan to. I just thought, hopefully my pattern will take me to a place where I can. And yippee, it is. Beautiful. Yippee. Last one. Here we go. Guys, we did it. You have no idea how proud of myself I am right now that I did not. Okay, wait, stop. Don't talk until you're done. Okay, I managed to do all of these without screwing up one of my swipes. Yippee! I'm very pleased because I was scared. I was a little bit scared. Okay, now what are we going to do? I think we're going to introduce some more black, and I'm thinking what I'd like to do is I'm going to leave the space between these black dots for now. We'll decide if we're going to come back to that. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a large black dot here and then walk the dots out. Yeah, I feel like that's calling to me. So how big of a dot do we want? Similar to this size. So we did a 5 for that one. So what if we do a 4? Is that big enough though? Maybe we'll do the 5 as well. Okay, we're going to do the 5 as well. Now I'm going to do black for that. So I'm going to top up my black a bit for 2 reasons. One, I need a lot of paint for this, but 2, this paint's been sitting for a while, so it probably has a bit of a skin on it, which is ew, gross, but also you don't want dry paint when you're working with it. So we're going to try to make it alive and useful. All right, so again, we're not going to start anywhere super visible. We'll start somewhere else. Okay, here we go. I like it. I'm going just under that row, that circle. We're just under it. This is a real challenge for me because I can't rest my hand right now because everything is too wet and I'm scared. And the reason why that's such a challenge for me is because my hands are weak and I can't hover well. See where I put my pinky right now? But I was on too much of an angle and I didn't get a good circle or a good dot. That's why I picked up my pinky. This is why I'm not resting it, because I need to be, the more straight up and down you are when you make a dot, the more round your dot will be. If you come at your dot from the side like this, which I often do because it's comfortable, it will often warp your dot, so it won't be perfectly round. So if you want a perfectly round dot and you're struggling with that, try looking at the position of your hand. You want your hand and your dotting tool to be straight up and down, just like the way I am right now. And that gives you a much more circular dot. Now, because this is a 5 and the 3 is much smaller, I have to decide what the next dot size is going to be. I would have normally done that size 3, but that seems a little too small. Maybe I should go. I made that one a little low. That's okay. Maybe I'll try the number 3 on the rod, because the rod is different than the stylus tool, those multicolored tools that I use. Oh, I almost put it in the white paint. Last one. See what I mean? It's so satisfying to get to that last one and be like, boop. Okay, so I think I'm going to try, if I can find the 3 in these dotting rods. I got paint all over my hands, like an animal. Animal. This is why I always have wet rags around, because she's a messy girl. Okay, let's see. 3.5. And we just had a 5, right? This was the 5. I think 3.5 would do well. I could do the 4, but I feel like that'll be a little too close. Okay, so we're going to go 3.5. Now, just as a comparison, in case you're dotting along at home, if I were to use the top of a paintbrush right now, this would be very equal. Okay, so have a look at what you have around your house, and you'd be surprised the different size dots you can make. All right, so we are going to do a 3.5 dot right next to the ones we just did. Do I want to do 3.5 or do I want to do 4? I think I might do 4. I think I've changed my mind. Let's do 4. I'll start way on the side in case I hate it. And I want to switch back to a 3. No, that's good. That's a good size. We want to go a little bit. Now the next round is going to be that green 3mm stylus that I have. And then we'll do a traditional walk the dots where you start with a certain amount of paint on your dotting tool and you don't refresh it. You don't add more, you just keep dotting like we did for this inner circle here. Now, in terms of I think this is called the lobes of the heart. I don't actually know why I know that, but I think that's actually correct. I don't know that I'm going to do anything there. I think I might just let the mandala in the center stand. I don't think I want to put anything. I feel like it might take away. There's enough happening in this area over here. I just blew that into my paint. Can you see it? Probably not. Some kind of fluff just went into this dot. There we go, I got it. A little floof. That had to be bright white against the black dot, obvi. I don't know if I'm going to do any more white on this. I feel like it's very striking as it is. We're going to see. Now that I just said that, I'm thinking maybe right over the big red jewels, we'll put a little white dot and then we could do a little red heart maybe. Okay, we're going to see. I don't know if I want to keep walking the dots or if I'm just going to put one more dot and let it stop like at the top of the white swipes instead of going past it. We'll have to see what that looks like. Last one, last one. Boop, boop, ba-doo. Beautiful. Don't you look so pretty? Okay. Let's see. What do we want to do next? I'm going to use my 3mm stylus. It's the biggest one that I have in terms of the end. Let's start with just one dot and see how we feel. I'm going to try to get quite a lot of paint on my dotting tool so that I can get a fairly large dot. One more. Oh, I like that. Yeah, we did it. We found the right thing. So one nice plump one and one right on there. I want to try to see if I can keep myself in line with the top of the white swipes if possible. I might not be able to depending on the size of everything, but that's the goal. Oh goodness, that looks so pretty. Mi piace, me gusta. See, me gusta. This is too. See, I didn't get as much paint on that and it's smaller. So that's something to know as a beginner dot painter. How do you control the size of your dots? There's multiple ways. Way number one is the size of the dotting tool that you're using. The bigger the size of the dotting tool, the bigger the size of the dot. It also matters how much paint you put on your dotting tool, how much of your dotting tool you let touch the surface of your project. Lots of factors involved in the size of your dots. So it's great to do projects like this where you're doing a bunch of different dots because it helps you learn how much space you should leave and what angle. See how I'm at an angle with this brush now? Not brush, with this dotting tool. As I told you, no, I don't want to put more. You're yapping too much, Mary. You're losing track of what you're doing. That wasn't round. Okay. Remember I talked to you about upright versus sideways when you're dotting? Well, I'm definitely dotting sideways with this. But because of the style of the dotting tool, because it's a rod, because it's a stylus instead of a rod, it's round all the way around. It's easier to get the round dot you want using a stylus versus using one of these tools that are flat at the bottom. You need to make sure you're straight up and down. So being on an angle with this kind of tool is not a problem, at least not for me, but I'd love to hear if you find it challenging in the comments. Okay. That middle one isn't big enough. There we go. Better. What do you guys think? I almost stuck my finger right in the paint. Oh boy, Mary. Okay, what are we going to do next? Now that we're coming up on the end of this row, what's the next move, guys? I think I did that a little crooked, but I'm going to leave it. Why? In case you're wondering why I leave some things and I don't leave others, because some things irk me and some things don't. If it irks me, I change it. I try to erase it or I try to pretend it never happened. But if it doesn't really bother me, I just leave it. I like the uniqueness of handmade things. All right. Eee, how pretty are you? What do we do next, guys? Oh, no lo so, no lo so. Okay, so I don't want to go too much further out because we're going to end up, there's going to be spots that we can't continue, right? Because of the edge of the, which is fine, but it's something to consider. So I think, do we want to do something between these? If so, what? Should we do white? You know, I just realized I haven't used any red paint because all the red is coming from the jewels. What do we want to do? I have little white round jewels, but I don't think I want to put a jewel beside a jewel. No, I don't think I like that. I have little hearts, but I don't have enough of them, I don't think. 2, 4, 6. Yeah, I only have 12. Okay, no, that's not going to work. So maybe we do we do a white dot in between them? What do you guys think? Maybe a white dot in between to break up. And then what would we do? If we did a white dot here and here, and then maybe a black dot here, and then a little red heart. What do I think of that? So white dots in between, and then on the top of the red, we'll do a black dot. And then on top of the black dot, we can do a little red heart maybe. And then that would be the whole thing. And then we'll decide if there's anything else we want to do in here. But I kind of don't think so. I like this. I like the amount of base you can see coming through. And I don't really want to muddy that up. So I think I might Okay, how big of a white dot do we put in the middle? I don't want to put several because we did that here, so I don't want to compete with it. I could do one and then a dot on top of the, no, but then that's going to be too many. So just one dot in the center. Okay, I think that's what I've decided. What size? A 4. A 4 was, I think, that big. Yeah, I think that would be good. All right. Let Mary get a sip of water because all this yapping makes her thirsty. Always remember to hydrate, friends. Your life only improves when you are hydrated, let me tell you. You feeling cranky? You got a headache? Drink some water. Having a rough day? A sip of water will do you good. All right, here we go. We're going to start on the side again. And if you don't know why, at this point, I don't know what to tell you. I'll tell you. It's because if I make it wonky, you won't notice it as much if it's on the side. That's why. All right, we're using 4.0. Here we go. You're not round enough. All right. I will say this is the perfect size. It's filling the space perfectly. This one's going to be a little tight. Let's see. Not bad. That fit anyway. So what would I have done if one of the gaps between these jewels wasn't big enough for this dotting tool? Well, I'd probably cry and flip this table over and smash my camera. No, I wouldn't. I'd clearly never do that. Oh my God, I would so cry if that happened right now. Oh, my finger slipped. That was almost deadly right there. No, if it doesn't fit, then just size down in your dotting tool and put a different size dot in there. Literally, no one's going to notice. Like, don't stress yourself out over things like that. This is one of the beautiful things about dot painting. Once this is done, it's just going to be beautiful. And you're not going to notice if one dot is slightly smaller than another dot in one row. And frankly, if somebody does notice that, they should be like, I don't know, like a inspector or a police investigator or somebody. Because that's a heck of a lot of attention to detail. All right, what do you think, guys? How are you liking this white dot idea? It's talking to me. You're not big enough. I have to say, I did pretty well with bubbles today. There was only a couple of swipes that needed a little bit of bubble attention. I find that the projects that I struggle the most with bubbles is if I'm mixing colors. And that's 100% my own fault because I'm very impatient and I stir too quickly. When you're mixing colors and you're trying to achieve a specific color, you want to stir slowly. But little Miss Impatience over here doesn't do that most of the time, and then I end up with bubbles in my paint, and then I have to pop all my bubbles. So, you know, the consequences of your actions. That's what that is. All right. We are coming into the home stretch on this one. And then we're going to have to decide I had said I was going to do black, but what size black do we want to do? Oh, whoop. Okay, this one's going to be tight. Okay, this is a good example. I cannot fit this size in there. So I'm going to use my 3mm dotting tool, the small ball, to make sure that's dotted very round because I didn't expect it and I didn't really go. That's good. I'm not going to make it any bigger than that. Yeah, you'll probably notice it if you stare at it, but stop staring at it. What are you looking at it for? Look at something else. Look over here. Look over there. Somebody over there. No? Okay. Just don't look at it. You're fine. It's fine. All right, here we go. What are we going to do next? I think I am going to do a black dot. I'm loving the way this looks. I feel like we have a good balance of black and white, but I'm going to do a black dot over top of these. And I have to consider that I've got next to nothing of a gap over here and a little one here. So these ones will either not have a dot or they'll have a tiny dot, which is not a problem to me. Now, the rest of them, however, what size dot do we want to do? Do we want to do the same size dot? I don't know. Let's see the size of the hearts again, of the little baby hearts. Come here. Okay, these are really tiny. So would it be good? I feel like I want a bigger dot in between and then these little hearts. So what size? So this is a 4. This bigger one, this black one here was a 5. I think the 5 would be good. Let's do that. Okay, here we go. We're going to, oh, I got to clean my dotting tool. I just left it like that, like an animal. All right. You go away. Oh, let's get the 5 back. I'm going to top up my black paint. I got to tell you, I really thought I was going to use like a lot of red paints tonight, but these jewels, I mean, they've got a little bit of my corazón, so I like it. Mi piace. We're going to stick with it. Okay, let's turn you this way. And I'm going to go right about there. I don't want, that's something to consider. I can't see the edge of my jewel. And the last time I did this, I got paint on my heart. So I need to dot facing from the bottom. So we're going to go from here this way. Yes, that's exactly what we're going to do. Okay, here we go. Make sure I get a lot of paint on my dotting tool. That's good. We'll deal with these ones later. Let's focus on the 5s for now. So I want to get close to the jewel, but I don't want to like touch it. And I don't want to, I like leaving a little gap in between. Okay. So this is something that separates what would be considered a beginner to somebody who's more experienced or on expert level. If you search on YouTube and you see some dot painting artists, you can't even see the background of their artwork because they've covered it in dots that are so butted up against each other. It's phenomenal. Like, it'll blow your hair back. I can't do that, number one, because I don't have the patience. And number two, I like doing beginner level kind of stuff because I think it's fun. I love making these projects. They're lots of fun. And they're much less stress. They don't have as much of a time commitment. Okay, we're going to leave this one for now. This is going to be a little black dot, or I'm going to skip it. We'll see. We're going to see how that looks because it could be great skipping it, or it could be crappy. So we'll have to decide. But definitely when you're a beginner, you want to make sure that you're leaving a gap in between each of your dots. This will help you gauge how big of a dot you're making, how much room you have. But in addition to that, it also avoids having two of your dots run into each other and become a big blob dot. You probably hear me talk about blob dots a lot because, oh, I almost put my finger in the paint. Mary, get it together, girl. I don't know. Something's going on. Okay. We have reached the ones that will not work with this size anymore. Will this fit here? Yes. Beautiful. Beautiful. One more here. Why am I moving this around like that? I could just move the whole paper. Make that just a tiny bit bigger. Okay, let's decide. Let's decide what we're going to do about the ones that don't have a dot on top. Does it look weird? Yes, we definitely need to put them in, I think. It's too noticeable. So we're going to go with the small one with my 3mm. And we're going to put appropriately sized dots on each one. Let me go this way, actually. Okay, I'm going to make them as big as I can. That's actually almost the same size as the other ones. That's good. How about you? There's clearly not enough room for that over here. So we're just going to put a small one here. Ooh, this one has a whisper over here. I don't even know if I can put a dot there. Here I can. It'll be small, but it'll fit. This one over here, it's just like, good luck, Mary. I don't even know what to say. I think I'd have to use the other side of my dotting tool. Let's see. Again, I got paint on my finger. Okay. All right. That's all you get. A little boop. Now, this guy, scoot, 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 scoot. I think you can fit at least this side, the other side of this, at least the 3mm side. Let's see. All right, let's see. What do you guys think? Cute, right? All right, we're almost done. We are almost done. Let's see. What else do we want to do? I'm just refolding my rag over here. It's so dirty, so I'm just not even going to touch anymore. We're going to put this aside because I'm going to cause a mess over here with it. I'm not really paying attention to it, and I'm making it worse. Okay, focus. I still feel like I want to do red heart. Now, do I want the hearts to face down like that? Or do we want it to face with the point out like this? Oh no, definitely facing down. It looks backwards. Well, it is backwards. Ooh, I'm a little nervous about putting these because I want them to be really close to the black dot. You know what maybe we'll do? Let me think about this. Because a bunch of these aren't going to get any red hearts because it just won't work. So maybe I won't put any down there. Maybe I'll put them across this way and across this way. And I could put a bigger red heart down here instead of this little guy. Or do I put a little guy? Boop. That's kind of cute. Yeah, I think that makes the most sense because there's nothing I can do on this edge anyway. So that's fine. Something I want you to make note of is the fact that I don't care that this is not going to continue down here. It's obvious that it wouldn't continue. The placement of this would mean that that it would continue off of the side of the shape. That's fine. You just don't want it to look illogical, but this makes sense that it would be off the side of the shape that you're working on, right? So, okay. I'm going to get my Gorilla Precision Glue out again, the super glue. Now, how close to the black dots do we want to get? I'm going to move you for a minute. Do I want to get like right up against it? Hold on. Get out of there. Do we want to go like super close? That's going to be hard to do anyway. How's that? Is that enough room? Should I put another dot on top? I kind of like the idea of putting another little black dot on top now that I'm looking at it. Okay, you scoot. We're not ready for you yet. Stay in the wings. Put on your hat. We're going to do another little dot. Just one. Here we go. Only on the ones that can have it. Right. I like that. Now we're going to put the little heart. And this one needs one too down here. Yeah, I like that. I think that's going to look real cute. Okay, so before we put these red hearts in, let's have a final look. Is there anything else we want to do other than that? No, I think we're good. I still feel like I don't want to put anything here. I think that would end up making it look, I don't know. Like, what could I even put there? Like some jewels. Like this. Or should I put a heart there? Let's see. What if we did a big heart? I might not do anything there at all and leave them empty, like I said, but that doesn't look as bad as I thought it was going to look, actually. What if we did a big red heart? I have other sized hearts, though. It doesn't have to be this big. I feel like it's going to compete with the center heart. What do you think? It's not speaking to me. Not these big ones. What about if we did smaller hearts? That's one last thing we're going to check. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do we put anything there or do we leave it? What do you guys think? Tell me in the chat. I can't decide. Should I leave it empty or should I put the hearts or maybe nothing there? Or maybe we put one of these. Or nothing. I think nothing. I think I'm going to leave it without. I can always add them in later, but once I've glued them down, I can't take them out. So we're going to set that aside for now. I'm going to focus on getting all of these little hearts glued in now. So I'm going to have them all facing in. This is going to be a challenge. I've got big man hands, and these are the tiniest little hearts you ever did see. Wait, actually, let me count. Maybe I could do a size up. How many do I need? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I could fit one there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I only need 8. So I have this size, which is a little bit bigger. I have 8 of them. Should I do the teeny tiny ones? Which size? Medium sized or tiny tiny? Let's see what they look like. That's a medium sized one. And this is a teeny tiny. Which one do you like better? The medium sized one or the teeny tiny one? I feel like the medium sized one because you can see it better, right? Let's do that. Scoot, get out of here. Okay, let's get some of these guys. I even have one size up from that. Do I have 4 of them? No. Where'd they go? Did I use them? No, I didn't use them. Where'd they go? Oh, well. I'm going to put these back on here. We're going to go for this size here. Okay. Here we go. Let's all pray for steady hands. But why aren't you coming out? I'm starting to think maybe this is my old one and I never threw it away. Okay, here we go. I can't even see it because of my fingers. Let's try sideways. Oh my gosh. Perfect. Okay. So we're in the home stretch now, guys. Once we're done these, We'll have a quick look to see if there's anything else I want to add, but I kind of think no. I got to do this sideways so I can see. Oh, too far. Okay, I got to do that from here. Oh, I almost hit my dot. I'm just going to hold this because I want it to stay in this exact spot. Good. Oh, boy, oh, boy. Dude, it's not your turn right now. This one is a little bit messy. Kind of like a piece stuck to it. Okay. Oh. Quick, 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 quick. Beautiful. I don't want any more there. Good. I don't know if I can fit one there. Let's see. I thought I could, but now because I went up a size. Oh yeah, it'll fit. It'll be close, but it'll fit. I'm all spun out over here. You get out of here. Okay. We're going to try. I'm actually kind of hanging off the edge a little bit. Just a tiny, tiny bit. I think I'm okay with it, but we're going to have to see it on the side. Oh, I don't mind. That kind of looks cool. Problem is there's no room for it here at all, so I won't be able to do one on this side, I don't think. That's okay. We're going to see. That dropped so easily. Beautiful. That was like, man, if they all were like that, I'd put them all over the place. Not that I'm having trouble putting rhinestones on this in case anybody doesn't have eyeballs. Good. Okay. Oh. Stuck to my finger. Let's see. I'm not sure that there's actually glue under here. Oh, yeah, there's glue. Oh. That's a good thing that dot is almost dry because I just about took it out. Okay, what are we going to do about this guy? I am 99% sure that this size is going to be too far off the edge. Right? Oh, this is got glue all over it. You, get off my finger. Yeah, that's going to be too big. I mean, I don't necessarily care if it's sticking out. Let's see. How do I feel about it? I can't even get it to prop up because it's so... Well, this one's actually doesn't have any glue on the back at all. That's what I just got stuck to my finger. Let's try this one. No, that's really hanging off. Like, that's like very, very hang off. Okay, so that's option one, is putting it there and letting it hang off. The thing is, it might break off, which is something to consider. Or we put the really small one, which will only hang off a tiny bit. I don't know. What do you think? Is it better to put a little one or to put a big one and have it hang off a lot? This one's only hanging off a tiny bit. Can you tell that this one's really small? Again, you'd have to stare at it. Like, that's the whole point, right? Like, all of these little things that we're talking about, you'd have to be staring at it and going, oh, that one's smaller than that one. Or those aren't the same size. Like, you'd have to be that focused on it. So that's the little one. Let's try it with the bigger one. I don't know. What do you think? This is like literally the last decision we need to make right now, I think. What do you guys think? Tell me in the chat. Should I use the size of heart that's exactly the same as the other ones? Or should I size down so that it's not sticking out as much? What do you think is the most noticeable? The fact that it's hanging out or the fact that it's smaller? I think the fact that it's smaller would be more noticeable. Okay, we're going to be brave and we're going to use the big one. And I'm going to actually put a little bit more glue than I did on the other ones in the hopes that this will stay in place. Get off my finger. Okay, turn. Okay. Okay. Are you straight or what? I can't tell. Okay. Good. It's good. All right, so now we're going to decide down here. Am I going to put this tiny one or are we going to put a big one? I think we're going to put a big one. But this one, I am not going to put upside down like the rest of those. I don't want it to be upside down over here. We're going to do it right. Oh, hey, chill, bro. That went flying across the room. We're going to put this bigger one, but we're going to put it vertical like that. Yeah? Yeah, I think so. Okay, here we go. We're going to put a drop right here. This one doesn't have any glue on the back of it, so it's Gorilla Glue or bust. Boop. There. All right, guys. What do you think? Are we done? Is there anything else we want to do? What do you think? Should we add anything? Should we put something in between? What would we put? A big white dot? I don't know. Do I like that idea? Or is this enough? I kind of feel like a little bit of white there would be nice, actually. Like a big white dot. Or do I put a jewel there? Oh, interesting. What are we talking about here? 2, 4, 6, 8. Maybe 10. Okay, I've got 8 white hearts. I don't think I like that. Just out of nowhere? No, I don't think so. What about circles? Like that. Let's just see one. What do you think of that? I'm not loving it. Let's scoot that off of there. I'm thinking a white paint dot, actually. No more rhinestones. I think we've reached our rhinestone capacity. You better get out of here, bro. You're being way too difficult. I'm kind of feeling like a white dot in between this would be good, and it needs to be a large white dot. How large? That's an 8.5. This is a 9. Do we want it to be bigger than a 9? Like to compete with this? If I did that, what would I do? Like a 12? It's a very big end, right? That would make a really massive white dot right there. I kind of like that idea, surprisingly. I didn't think I'd want to put any more white, but I feel like that spot looks a little empty to me. So let's add that in, and then I'm going to say we're done because I feel like we're there. Okay, let's start on the side. I actually really like that. The gamble paid off. I got to be careful with bubbles here. How far are we going to go? Are we going to go up to here? I think so. I think I like that idea. I think we'll do one more on this side too. Hey. Let's all behave together. We're going to do there. Beautiful. Okay. We're going to do over here. I have some bubbles to pop. In big dots like this, it's not surprising to have bubbles show up. I don't like the edge of that. It's not very round. Okay, good. I can fit one more. I'm running out of paint. I could totally fit one there. So let's do one. This is going to be a challenge. Okay. Do you see what I did there? How I dotted off to the edge so that it looks like the dot moved over, like off to the side. I preferred that in this instance than going down a size because I feel like it balances things out a little bit better. So I'm pleased with that. Now I'm just going to put one on each side of this, and I consider this done. I'm going to have a quick look and see if there's anything else that's like calling out to me, but I feel like we might be done. All right. What do you think? Are we done? Is there anything else we should add or change? What do you think? I think we might be done. I don't feel like there's anything else needed here. I definitely don't want to put anything up there. I think it would take away. I feel like we've got, this just screams hearts and love to me and Valentine's Day. So I am very pleased with this final result. I consider this finished. Complet. So I would love to hear what you think about this. Did you enjoy making this pattern with me? This is completely us making this up together as we go along. No plan other than I was thinking about putting this heart in the middle. That was pretty much it. So this is what we came up with together in 2 hours and just about 15 minutes. I hope you enjoyed making this with me because I had a blast, and I'm super excited to see what this is going to look like on a wreath. I'm going to be making that wreath on Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So please join me live and we can make the wreath together and add this beautiful heart in the center. If you're interested in learning more about dot painting, I have a ton of beginner-friendly videos available on my channel. Many in this live format where I talk until you think to yourself, wow, she talks a lot. Yeah, I have a lot of those. And then I have a number of shorter ones that are 10 to 15 minutes long, and it's not a lot of me yapping. I mean, I talk throughout the whole thing, but it's not 2.5 hours of me talking. So whatever your cup of tea is, you can find it here at the IHC Craft Room. And I hope you do, because it's been a blast making all of these fun projects. I'm going to be here every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, dot painting, love, and Valentine's Day themed projects right up until Valentine's Day and beyond. So please join me again. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe so that we can continue to get crafty together. Toodaloo!